If you're campaigning for president in Iowa, you're going to experience all kinds of weather. Tom Steyer is learning that. He's on the WHO Radio Newsmakers line. Tom, welcome back to WHO. Good morning.
Good morning, Jeff. How are you?
I am doing great. You recently unveiled a gun agenda, Tom, which I know is going to get a lot of attention from Iowans. Can you tell me what your agenda is?
Well, my agenda is to promote a significant reduction in gun violence in the United States. And so it starts with a simple idea about mandatory background checks on gun purchases. It involves registration of guns and particularly of assault weapons. And it involves a voluntary buyback of guns. And it's basically an attempt to try and reduce the number of guns in society voluntarily, while also pushing for making sure that the people who get guns, who purchase guns, have been cleared of the most simple things such as spousal abuse or mental problems or felonies. So it's really a common sense attempt to put in a context gun ownership in a safe way around the United States.
Tom, I imagine that as you go around, the biggest objection you're going to hear is there's worry that the ultimate goal is confiscation. Is that the ultimate goal?
No, it is absolutely not, Jeff. And let me say this. I am a gun owner myself. Our family gives gun safety schooling on our ranch in California, free for the people in the community. I'm a believer in safe, careful ownership of guns, but I think that we have a huge health problem in this country, which involves almost 40,000 gun-related deaths per year. And I think that we should acknowledge that and treat it in a responsible way, and in particular, make sure that our kids are safe.
I know that one of the purposes of your visit to Iowa this time around, Tom, is to talk to people about rural health care, and that continues to be an overriding issue that Iowans are talking about in this campaign. What do you think are some of the solutions you'd like to see as president? What would you like to enact to address Iowans' concerns on health care?
Well, I think that let's step back for 1 second on health care. I want to address two issues. First of all, you should know, Jeff, that I'm one of the Democrats running who's in favor of a public option, but not of Medicare for all. That every American has a right to health care. Every other advanced society in the world gives health care as a right to every citizen. I would definitely do that through a public option. But I also believe that for the 150 million Americans who have negotiated to get their health care through their employment, I would like to make the public option cheaper and better so they would choose it, but I believe that they know their lives better, and it's up to them to make that decision, not up to the government in Washington, D.C. to tell them that they have to do it. Second point I'd say about healthcare, specifically in Iowa, is I remember being here about a year and a half ago and talking to one of the candidates who wanted to be the Democratic nominee for governor in Iowa, and asking him the biggest problem in Iowa. And I don't know what I expected, but what he told me was mental health. That around Iowa, they were closing mental health facilities, but beyond that, there was a deep issue here about mental health and having it be treated. So one of the things I would say up front is I believe mental health has to be treated equally with other health-related issues in an equivalent fashion. And I think that in Iowa, that's something, and I heard it again talking to some people at a diner this morning. They specifically brought up mental health in the context of rural Iowa, the economic issues in the Farm Belt. I was in Council Bluffs yesterday where have been having terrible flooding all year, 4 separate incidents of flooding, including this most recent one, and where people were talking to me about, the emotional damage that's doing, the emotional issues they're facing. So when we talk about rural health care, and I know that that's an issue across America and across Iowa, I want to make sure that in particular, the mental health issues about rural residents are specifically handled and fight against it no matter what. And that really has been what's motivating me in impeachment, the right and wrong of it. This is a president who from the very beginning has been putting his interests ahead of the American people. And then when he's been caught in it, he's tried to hide it illegally. So he's been both committing crimes and then he's been covering them up. And if you look at this most recent incident with Ukraine, and I started the Need to Impeach movement 2 years ago because I believe that the most powerful people in the country should live up to the same laws and be held to account the way every single other American should. But if you look at this incident in Ukraine, he was withholding American tax dollars and using that pressure to try and get the Ukrainian president to intervene in our politics on his behalf for his own personal benefit. And then he tried to cover it up. And that's as clear an example as we're ever going to see of an elected official putting his interests ahead of the American people. And that is the one thing you are never, ever supposed to do, which is to have you be placed ahead of the American people. Your oath of office says you are going to put our interest, the American people's interest first. And if you look, Jeff, I didn't go and complain about it. I went and collected signatures around the country, including in Iowa. I came out here and did town halls and talked to people, and over 8 million people signed that petition. What I was saying was something different. I was saying the integrity of the United States lives with the American people. The judgment that I trust is the judgment of the American people. We were demanding as a group that the people in Washington, D.C. stand up for the Constitution and what's right and stand up for the health and safety of Americans. So I feel as if on this case, this is not about partisanship. This is not about policy. This is not about personality. This is a question of standing up for what's right in your society, and that's what all those 8 million people were doing. That's what I've been doing, and that's what I'm asking everybody else to do. If this country is going to be the country we all want it to be, then the American people are going to have to drag the people in Washington towards integrity and honor and honesty, and that's what we've been doing.